Welcome to December's NEFA Member Spotlight. I am joined today by Robert Hornby from CSG Law. Thanks for joining me, Robert.
Happy to be here. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too. And I love the little fire back there. You got a tree. I don't know. I can't get my tree and the fireplace in the same thing, but it's over there. Well,
I see your beautiful Winter Village back there as well. I just wanted to make sure this holiday edition was a real holiday edition. And I'm also wearing my red for my University of Arizona Wildcats, which I know you can appreciate out there in Arizona.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I did not know that. So,
yep. I'm born and raised in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay. I am born and raised on the East Coast. Where are you?
Yep. We flipped.
Robert, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself in CSG Law?
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Robert Hornby. I'm the chair of the equipment leasing and finance part of CSG Law. CSG Law is a law firm in New York and New Jersey. Many of you may have heard the name previously, Chiesa, Shahinian, and John Tomasi. We rebranded as CSG Law because, frankly, that was just too cumbersome, and it was clearly obvious that we were a New York and New Jersey law firm with that, but we needed the courts to be able to pronounce our name. So we're now CSG Law. We're approaching, believe it or not, 200 attorneys. I was just at a meeting the other day, a post-COVID meeting, and I believe we've added 46 lawyers over the past year and a half, which is incredible during COVID. So we have a lot of new attorneys. It is a full service law firm. So we do everything from, obviously equipment finance to cannabis to, anything you can imagine, litigation, transactional, we do it all. So we are based again in New York and New Jersey. We serve those markets. I myself specialize in equipment finance, obviously. And, I work, hand in hand with my partner, Frank Paratori, as Jesse, as you know, is just a legend in the equipment finance industry and has taught me so much. And we're lucky to have him here at CSG Law. So, we handle on the equipment finance side, both the back end, which is obviously going after defaults, replevins, that sort of thing, and the front end, which is transactional, securitizations, master leases, all of those things we do. It's funny because during COVID, I thought it was going to shift more to the back end. And frankly, it's shifted the other way. I probably do 60 or 70% transactional now and less court, although I still do a lot of court and bankruptcy, et cetera. So, I can happy to talk more about that, but that's just a general overview of what I do and what CSG does.
No, perfect. And, congratulations on being on the NEFA board. I know it's a big responsibility and a lot of volunteer hours that you put into that. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. And it's a humbling experience to be obviously named to the executive committee this year. I've been on the board for 3 years. I'm going to borrow from you and say, when it comes to NEFA, you get, as with anything else, you get out of it what you put into it. And so, I have gotten a lot out of this organization. I love the organization, and I feel like it's a necessity that I give back to the organization. And so I'm trying to do that through the board. This is a very active board, as you and I have discussed, and I love to be a part of it. And I love to, be a part of the decision-making process going forward. There's lots of exciting, I'm sure we'll talk about it, lots of exciting things coming up for NEFA in the next, year or so.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go into next. It's just like, what does the National Equipment Finance Association mean to Robert Hornby and CSG Law?
Well, it's one of those organizations. Obviously, there's many organizations out there in the equipment finance industry, but it's one of those organizations that's so unique that being a part of it is really, beneficial to me, not only as an attorney and as a service provider in the industry, but as a person. There is, when it comes to NEFA, and I'm sure that you've heard this many times on your fireside chats, there is a family type relationship here. There is a sharing of information. And I see it, obviously, I'm again on the service provider side, but I see it obviously with the lessors and the brokers. Even though they're their competitors, they share information, right? They share strategies. And I do the same thing with the other attorneys that are involved, who many of them are technically my competitors. I don't view them that way at all. I mean, we serve, across the United States as at CSG Law, and there are other attorneys that serve across the United States. I will happily call them up and say, like a Dennis Dressler, as you know, right? I'll call them up. He's in Chicago. I'll call him up and say, Dennis, what do you think about this? Or can you help me there in Chicago? And so it is an organization that encourages people not only to share information, but to get to know one another. And I think by doing that, by having these events that we have on, obviously the conferences, right? Everybody should attend those, but we have these local events as well. And we also have committees, which I'm sure we'll talk about today. It allows people to see each other face to face or virtually face to face, to get to know one another and to feel comfortable with one another. And I will tell you, I'm part of other organizations that are bigger within the equipment finance industry, and they certainly do serve their purpose within the industry, and they're excellent organizations, but they don't have the intimacy and the familial type atmosphere that NEFA has. And I think when I talk to people about, who want to join, and I know you've been involved in the membership committee and on the membership side, I can't stress enough the sharing of ideas and information here. You won't get it anywhere else. And, one of the, probably 2 years ago, I was at the reception that we do for new members. And another attorney was brought in to talk about membership and was speaking about, what he did, everything else. In the middle of that, he turned and said, but, there's certain things that are complex that my firm doesn't handle. And we call Robert Hornby. And to do that in front of a crowd, you don't get that anywhere else. And I was truly touched by it, but it is, that is, if you want to call him a competitor, it's a competitor, but that's fine. We're going to give the best service to the members that are there. And I think that transcends not only attorneys, but everyone within the organization, all the membership. So, to me, you asked me what it means to me. It means that I feel part of a group where I can give my knowledge and expertise to the extent I have it, but I get back tenfold. And so it is something that hopefully, the members feel that way as well, because the board is certainly looking for every opportunity to give back as much as possible to the membership.
No, and you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, everything you said is one of the reasons why, I love the association so much. I mean, when I was at LTI, I took more of a strategic approach where they wanted me to focus on the bigger deals. And obviously there's other trade associations that house those bigger deals, right?
Yep.
So I took a step back from NEFA for almost, I want to say 5 years. And, the Charlotte conference last year was my first NEFA event. Now I went to some regional meetings here and there.
Right.
As far as going to the bigger conferences, they had, people that focused on that. Going back was like I never left, right? I mean,
That's great.
Granted, now there was a bunch of things that happened in Charlotte, right? That was the first conference I think that a lot of us went to in 24 months.
I know.
So I think that on top of, oh my God, it's like we never left. And it's not just customers. I mean, there's lifetime friends that
Absolutely. And you can walk right up and you walk into that hotel and you see people at the hotel bar and you say, hey, how you doing? I mean, it's almost a Norm from Cheers type situation. Yeah. And you can't make it up how intimate it can be sometimes. And it's great because then you feel as a member that if you're in trouble or you need something, you can call one of those people.
Sure, absolutely. And even if they're, a competitor where it's like, hey, who do you like to meet? Because at the end of the day, there's enough business in this industry for everyone.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, sure. No, you might be a better fit for this one than I am. Like, why am I going to struggle trying to figure out your business when that's our core competency?
Well, and I think too, I mean, you've been on the membership side in the membership committee. It's important. Not all organizations do this. A lot of organizations simply want members and want to grow. Let's get dues. Let's get money in the door. When it comes to our membership and our membership committee, we do vet people that come in. So you don't get any stinkers, right? I mean, and that is the point, is we're not here just for growth. We get everybody in and it becomes unwieldy. We want to get the right people in and the right individuals in so that it helps facilitate, business. We're all there for business. We understand that, but it doesn't mean that we can't create an environment that allows business to happen organically.
Nope, that makes complete sense. So let's pivot a little bit, if you don't mind, to 2022. Um, besides the upcoming conference, what can we expect out of NEFA in 2022, Robert?
Well, the first thing is I don't want to just go right over that conference because we have some great conference chairs who are going to do an excellent job, including one on this phone call. So the 2022 conference is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be a great follow-up to Charlotte. And I want, being in California, by the way, we're going to have a huge turnout. I really do believe that. The offerings there are so exciting, from education to, the extracurriculars, as I'll call them, and everything there. So the conference is going to be phenomenal. But when it comes to 2022, I think, I hope the memberships realizes, and they did vote in this board, and we have some great new members, Shervin and Don and Bob and Kim. This is a board that is engaged, that wants to do something, that wants to give back and make sure that the membership dollars that you give are being well spent, and they're giving back to you again tenfold if we can. And so the board is active. They're actively looking at, we're in this post-pandemic era, right? And so, as we had a year, more than a year, and probably to Darren's chagrin, we're a conference organization that didn't have any conferences. So that sort of violently shoved us into, what can we do besides conferences? And we had some virtual events. There's one coming up, a virtual event that was supposed to be December. It's a virtual wine tasting by Bank Financial, and we had previously done the tequila tasting. It's phenomenal. Everybody should go do that. But other than that, we want to look at, how do we give back? So we're giving more of these local type events that are in Lake Minnetonka ice fishing coming up, that allows members that maybe, if they can't go to the conference or in between conferences, they can still connect with people locally. They can still connect with people in the business. And by the way, it's not just local people that go to these events. I mean, we get people, I go to the Crab Feast every year, and people come from all over the country. So you can still get the contacts at these local events, but it does allow you to, maybe not take off his work as much and to go to the events. So, what's coming up in 2020 is not only more of these events, and we're adding more, actually. I'm not sure if we've, made the announcement to all the events, but we're going to have a lot of these regional events. But also the board is strategically planning, what can we give back, right? And one of the things that's come up, and we're still working on this, of course, and everybody talks about this, is education. And you have the educational events, not only at the conferences, but we're probably going to do some at the regional events. And in the past, we've had great education sessions, but quite frankly, they weren't always organized as far as a straight line from one conference to another to the regional events. So we're looking at ways to really streamline the education, so that if you come to one conference, in the fall, and then you go to the one in the spring, you can get a follow-up to that session. You can have continuity, so that the memberships can really understand, not only what's going on in that area that, that was covered, but what's changed since the last time. So the board is focused on that. The board, is also focused on, how do we make, and I think it's an ongoing thing, but I will tell you, laser focused on, how do we make the membership available to one another. In other words, I need somebody to do a rail car deal or syndication or whatever it might be. And how do I do it? Obviously, we all know that you can call somebody within the organization, you can call Chad, etc. But we want to put together online resources that make it easy for people to go search the membership, understand what's out there. So, 2022 to me is very exciting, because we have an active, engaged board. We have a board that understands, in the post-pandemic world, we have to do new things, right? And you and I have talked about this. It's not only a change in the way the world works, because you and I are sitting here virtually, and you're going to put this up. This is a great format, but a format that didn't exist 2 years ago, right? So it's something that we not only need to change because the world's changing, but also, as you know, the demographic is changing within the industry. So we need to be able to serve a younger audience. And so, for instance, there's going to be a lot of committee activity coming up, and new committees being added to NEFA, which is where people can get involved. That's going to include a diversity inclusion committee in 2022. It's also, going to include, we've already started this, a broker lessor committee, but it's going to include a young members committee, so we can draw in those young people, and hopefully when people go to conferences, they bring, a set of 5 people, 6 people, so that every one of them gets something out of it. the CEOs and even the younger, they can go to the CEO roundtable, right? Or the administrators, but then we can have the younger kids that really are getting into the industry go to a different program that really is teaching them about the industry. So there's this view of, we really want to give back something for your whole organization, and that you can get out at both regional, local, and the conference events.
No, and that's well said, and great points there. And yeah, I mean, Blair kind of gave me an inside look of what some of these events are going to be next year. And I mean, like, I've been to ice fishing, I think every one they've had. So I'm definitely going to be going to that one, but even potentially something at the Indy 500, which is,
that was a new one. That's great.
I saw that one. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. But who doesn't want to go to that race, that mecca
Absolutely.
of for a sporting event? And then, yeah, I mean, and even so, our conferences next year. So Amy Sprague and I are chairing the one in March. When Blair and Chad asked me if I had any interest, I'm like, sure. And then I'm like, okay, well, Jacqueline and May did such a great job at that one. How do we make it better? And
lots of pressure.
Build upon that momentum, that those ladies built with that. And we have a good plan. We have a great speaker, some great informational sessions, a really good plan. And, with Chad and Blair's help through execution, really excited for that one. And then, so then in November, or is it November? Did I see the first week?
Yeah.
Of November? Is that
it got changed because I think it conflicted with the LFA.
Okay. So then we're going to Nashville. I mean, who doesn't like Nashville?
Nashville's going to be great. Well, I will tell you, from the board point of view, we have seen, what you're working. Obviously, the work is a work in progress for the spring conference. It looks great. The speaker looks great. These are things that people will love when they go to it. It's, the educational element is going to be phenomenal. And so, we are really looking forward. It's a follow-up to Charlotte, but I think it could be even better than Charlotte. I think the venue that you're in is phenomenal. Everybody likes it. I think hopefully, knock on wood, and on wood here, but, I think we're going to be further out for COVID. So you're going to get more people attending. And I think regionally, where you're at anyways, you're going to get more people attending, maybe even daytime people coming there. So I think it is going to be a phenomenal event. I hope all the membership can attend. And, having done and put together a couple conferences myself, including the now defunct, if you remember, New Jersey Expo, I did the last one of those.
My first ever conference, man. That was my
first
ever conference.
Really?
The TNET, New Jersey.
And that was like a regional. I mean, I know it was regional, but it was like a mini conference, right? Because you had educational.
Everyone looked forward. It was once a year at the Glen Point Marriott, and hopefully the Giants were in town and they were staying at the hotel, right?
Often they were, right? You'd see them walk through. But having done that and put together, I think of the Long Beach one too, it is a lot of work. We really do appreciate what you do, and to have it come together, like it did in Charlotte, and I know that it's going to come together the same way in California is great. And thank you for the hours and hours that you put in for this. And again, I'm sure that you feel the same way. You put in these hours because you know that you're getting something out of the organization, and you're happy to do it. But it is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, no, gladly do it. Like the association's done a lot for me. So,
Absolutely.
I guess in kind of closing here, Robert, if I'm a new member joining NEFA, what advice would you give them?
So new members, first of all, there's two guys on this phone call. This Zoom that you should call up if you want to talk about, there's always questions. Who should I see for this? I don't if they don't know the organization, call somebody up. You can always call Chad. You could always call anyone on the board. You could call Jesse. You could call me. Happy to help. But other than that, I really want to see members get involved. And, you can work your way up by getting involved in a committee. What do you want to be involved in? Do you want to be involved in diversity and inclusion? Do you want to be involved in new membership? It's a great way to meet people and to understand the inner workings of the committee process and NEFA organization. And certainly, get involved there, but please come to the conferences. If you can't come to a conference, go to a regional event. And when you're at a regional event, go up to somebody and say, hey, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm brand new. I will guarantee you they will be accommodating to you. They will say, here's somebody you need to meet. Here's something you need to do. Oh, go to the Chris Walker dinner. you will get probably an earful of things that you'll be overwhelmed as a new member of things that you could or could not do. But the point is, everybody from top to bottom here is inviting. So don't be afraid to, one, get involved, two, to go to events, and three, if you have questions and maybe you're not a face-to-face person, call somebody up on the phone or email us. We're happy to help you out, point you in the right direction, and welcome you to the family. I mean, that's the big thing.
I think that's the best way to close this thing, Robert. You hit the nail on the head there. My phone's always on. I think majority of us have those regional events covered, so never hesitate to ask.
Absolutely. Well, thanks. I appreciate you having me. What you do is phenomenal. These fireside chats are great. Your regular fireside chats also great. And obviously with Equipment Finance Cares, near and dear to my heart. You're doing great things. You're a great example of somebody who's helping to drive the organization to new levels. Your partnership, you're doing this, helps us reach new audiences. And it also, again, as we've talked before, it makes it intimate with the people and humanizes people, so that we're not just saying, hey, we put a deal together. It's not all about dollars and cents. It's about the people involved. And that's what you're all about, I know, and that's what NEFA is all about.
Exactly, Robert. And thank you very much for your time. Happy holidays. And look forward to seeing you probably sometime in Q1 next year.
Absolutely. Happy holidays. Enjoy your 80-degree weather in Arizona.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Bye.